All right. Hey, everybody. We are back. We took a week break. Thank you guys for coming back again to watch us. Jason, how was your break from Sideline Savants?
Very therapeutic. Got a little zen going on. Had some time to reflect and relax. So glad to be back with you, Commish. I missed you, man. Week is too long without you, so I appreciate it. Let's rock and roll, man.
Absolutely. Hey, last time we did a show, we were both torn on Dak Prescott. I told everybody to start the man. You told everybody to sit the man. And it looks like you were right on that, Jason. I think Dak only got me like 14 points or so. Ended up injuring his hand. Now he's out for the season. So if anybody else wants me to put a hex on another player, you let me know.
It's all good, man. That's good. Football in general is like that. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So
Here we
it's
go.
okay. I started Danny Dimes a couple of times this year, and we see how that is going right now. So
Yeah.
you can bury Dak Prescott back there
Right
with
next to
Danny.
him.
So no worries.
Right, and we're keeping Danny on the ground, which leads us to some wins and losses this week. Jason, what was some wins for you going into week 10?
Well, I have to thank the Cincinnati Bengals, especially Joe Burrow, because I had him in a couple of my leagues. So dropping over 40 points was fantastic. I also went against him in one of my leagues. So it wasn't too fun in that league because he dropped some points against me. But phenomenal game. Hopefully he can keep that up, even though they did lose the game. Also want to thank Austin Eckler. Not a lot of yards rushing, but a couple of touchdowns. Got 18 points. Again, right now, running back position. It's nice to have anything over double-digit points, but to get 18 points was pretty nice. And one of the guys I'm surprised right now, Kyler Murray, playing kind of out of his mind a little bit. Got 30 points last week. He's consistently climbing up. So he is definitely one of those guys you need to look at starting for like the rest of the season because he's playing some really good ball. And then one more win. I got to give it to Bijan Robinson. Finally showed up. Highest point total of the week, almost 29 points. So great job there. Hopefully that can continue. Some of my not so good choices and the losses. Devontae Smith, where are you, man, with the Eagles? 3 points last week. He's really had just a subpar season. I know he's been kind of injured, but definitely not happy with his production. Rome Odunze, where have you been? Of course, the Chicago Bears just fired their offensive coordinator, so maybe that'll kickstart Rome getting back into it because I know that Chicago Bears offense has been dreadful. Aaron Rodgers, woo! I think Aaron Rodgers needs to go back to the cave and just kind of let football go by the wayside because he looks done. 5 points last week. He looks absolutely miserable out there playing football right now. And Dalton Kincaid, just on that Buffalo Bills team that's playing really, really well. He's supposed to be this top tight end, 4.4 points. He doesn't look like a number one tight end to me. So that's some of my wins and losses. What do you got, Commish?
Well, my biggest win, it helped me win 2 leagues, honestly, was the Philadelphia defense going against the Dallas Cowboys. They got me 23 points. They had 1 interception, 6 points allowed, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries. That was major for me. Again, led me to victory in 2 of my leagues that I really needed to win in. Calvin Ridley was another one. Did great, 5 for 9, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm going to echo you with a loss, a miss for me. I picked up Aaron Rodgers to play in our standard league that we're in together. And as you can see, 5 points led me to only I think it's my third loss of the season in that league. So I'm still doing all right. I can afford a loss, but Aaron Rodgers let me down. I played him over Baker Mayfield. I think Baker got maybe 5 more points than him. But again, just a disappointing showing from Aaron Rodgers. Another loss for me was Justice Hill. Not a big name, not a sexy name, but I needed a running back, and I took a gamble on Justice Hill. He had 2 carries, -2 yards, and 2 receptions.
Oof,
So big
oof,
loss for me. It's
painful.
no question why I lost in that matchup with with both Justice Hill and Aaron Rodgers on the same team. Jason, of course, we're talking about wins and losses. Let's talk about guys that you can count on a weekly basis. Who are we noticing players that you don't have to question? You're going to fire them up every single week.
I was thinking about this and, count on me. Who are those guys out there that, in fantasy football that you can just really bank on getting you some points right now this season? One of my guys, Terry McLaurin, has been playing phenomenal. He's been really, really consistent. Last 10 weeks, he's been over double-digit points. He's only had 2 weeks where he's been under that, and that was week 1 and week 2. So Jaden Daniels playing phenomenal. He has been catching McLaurin on some big passes. So Scary Terry is that. He has been consistent Terry. So I like that. I can count on him. One of the other ones that has really surprised me this year, again, on that Cardinals team, is James Conner. James Conner has been very consistent. Week 6 and week 3, he was a little sketchy there, but other than that, double-digit points, playing very, very well, and knock on wood, no injury issues. Very impressed with that. My third one, again, I'm sticking on that Cardinals tree. Trey McBride is turning out to be probably in the top 3 tight ends right now in the NFL. Week 1 and 3 and 4, he was kind of low, but again, that Cardinals team is surging. Kyler Murray surging. Trey McBride and his ability to jump over guys has been a reason why the Cardinals have been able to spread the field, because he is an absolute stud at the tight end position. My last one, I hit this guy hard. I think he's severely overrated, but I'm going to give him some props. Justin Herbert, over the last 3 games, he's been over 20 points. He's been very consistent. He's actually been playing well. Lad McConkey, Lad the Impaler, I call him. He has been playing really, really well for a rookie. So I'm going to give Herbert some props. The Harbaugh, Mr. Khaki Pants himself, has that team really playing well there in Los Angeles. So who can you count on, Mr. Commissioner?
Well, listen, if you see the things in the back of me right now, you notice I'm a Ravens fan, and I would be insane not to mention Lamar Jackson from the start. The guy is playing the best football he has played in his career. He's going for that 3rd MVP. Easily count on Lamar Jackson.
MVP watch.
Week in, week out, Lamar Jackson's getting it done for the Ravens right now. Another guy you got to look at is Joe Mixon. He's a running back that got traded to the Texans for practically nothing. This man is running angry. He is unstoppable right now. Joe Mixon is doing what he needs to do on that field, and he's doing it in fashion. He's showing the Bengals, this is what you get for dropping me. The Bengals still the 3rd most scoring team in the NFL. Not necessarily seeing the wins behind that, but still a great team. But Joe Mixon's showing them, listen, I'm not an old man. I can still do what I'm doing. Another guy that's been very reliable for the last 3 weeks with a young rookie quarterback has been Courtland Sutton. Here's a guy, plenty of talent. We talk about him almost every year. He's very underrated wide receiver. Courtland Sutton is one guy that I can look at week in and week out and say I'm going to count on him to start.
That's awesome. And Denver should have won that game. How Kansas City blocked that field goal. I tell you what, if anybody's got a golden horseshoe up their hoo-ha, it is Patrick Mahomes. Because I tell you what, that undefeated, what are they now? 9-0, 10-0?
Yeah.
I don't know how, because they've been playing some ugly football, yet they continue to win. And then the Bears, if you had started Jared Goff this weekend, or the Lions, if you started Jared Goff this weekend, 5 interceptions, that must have hurt. But how the Lions came back and won that game, I have no idea, man. So some crazy, crazy football this weekend.
Jason, we're in a league in fantasy football, kind of called a dynasty league, and if you're not familiar with dynasty league as a fantasy player, it completely changes the way you play fantasy football. It makes standard fantasy football, the old way of playing fantasy football. It just makes it uninteresting, to be honest with you. I love Dynasty League. And as we continue on to the season, we have to make some decisions because you have draft picks every season in Dynasty. In Dynasty, you basically keep your same guys until you decide to drop them. And every year, based on performance, you draft rookies. There's 3 rounds that you draft rookies or free agents. So you have to make some decisions later down the season of who you're going to drop to make room for those new draft picks. Jason, is there anybody on your radar right now on your dynasty team that you're looking at and you're saying, I feel confident I could go ahead and drop this guy and I'm not going to miss him?
Well, and that's always tough because you never know. You never know what those draft picks are going to bring next year. I mean, next year's draft in college looks to be fairly light as opposed to this past year we just had. So not a lot of sexy quarterbacks. You got a couple of them coming out. I think there may be some top picks, maybe 1 or 2 running backs and a few wide receivers, but not a huge deep draft. So this is one of those times where, okay, right now we are in the last week of trade. This is our trade deadline this week. So is this the time to take that draft pick and go, okay, never mind. Let me stack this with a Romeo Dobbs or somebody and take that pick and another player and try to go get a little more of a top line person or running back or wide receiver in my league. I really haven't dropped anybody yet because right now with the injury bug that's going around, it's hard to drop guys right now. So, but with this last week in the trade deadline, I've been really looking hard at, do I want to keep my draft picks for next year or do I want to spend those draft picks now and go for the gusto? What are you looking at with your team right now?
Well, I can tell you there's 3 guys on my drop list that I feel confident that I can drop and I'm not going to miss them. One guy you saw I did today, Jason. I traded away Xavier Worthy. I traded him for a 2nd round draft pick in the 2025 draft this coming year. Listen, Xavier showed greatness the first week of the NFL season. He's got the speed, but Xavier Worthy is a boom or bust guy. He's dependent on that big play. He's dependent on that touchdown. He's dependent on that surprise. And he's no longer a surprise. They know about him now. So I'm just not sold on Xavier Worthy. I'd be confident. Xavier Worthy's not a guy that you should probably just drop. Someone's going to trade for him. I'm very happy to get a 2nd round draft pick for Xavier Worthy. Another guy I'm looking at is Zach Moss. In the beginning of the season, we saw the Cincinnati Bengals was experimenting with this 2-back situation that they had with Zach Moss and Chase Brown. It's no secret. Chase Brown's the man right now in Cincinnati. He's been doing great. Zach Moss looks like he's done probably for the season. I would feel confident dropping Zach Moss. I don't think he's going to contribute much once he comes back, maybe next year or so. But Chase Brown's that guy in Cincinnati. Go ahead and drop Zach Moss. Won't hurt your team that much. Another guy.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I hate to say it because I was pretty excited for him, but Deontay Johnson is pretty much non-existent in that Baltimore Ravens backfield right now. He's not even playing. I mean, he maybe 10% of the snap counts since he's been a Raven. That could change. He has a lot of talent, but as far as this season goes, I'd be okay with dropping Deontay Johnson.
I think the Ravens picked him up because they didn't want Pittsburgh to get him. I think that was more of a wanting to keep him away from somebody move than it was to bolster. I mean, I think if somebody does get hurt, of a Flowers or somebody, or towards the end of the season when they want to start resting some guys, I can see Deontay Johnson being in there. But as far as the fantasy perspective, yeah, he's definitely fallen completely off the map, even worse than he was in Carolina. And then as far as Worthy, man, yeah, I was very disappointed. And me, that first couple of games, I was excited about him. I thought this kid was going to change. I thought he was going to be a Hill 2.0, but he ended up being 0.0. So unfortunately, and it made it even worse when the D-Hop came over, and when they traded for D-Hop, that just killed his value right there, because Patrick Mahomes with a wide receiver that can catch just about anything, watch out. D-Hop, when him and Patrick get a little more comfortable, wow, you're going to see some amazing things from them. So, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but a couple of guys I was also disappointed in is Javonte Williams. Even though he gave me a couple points here and there, and we did our little trade, he has completely fallen off. Is probably going to take a back seat to the rookie there. And for my Giants, Singletary. Now with Tracy, looks like to be the number one running back. I think Singletary is probably going to be gone at the end of this year in New York, and I think he's going to be relegated to the backup of a backup here, as you know, because running backs, you got 3 to 5 years, man. If you don't boom in that 3 to 5 years, you tend to fall off super quickly. So volatile times right now in fantasy football, where you got to start making decisions for your team, especially in Dynasty. You also have the playoffs coming up here pretty soon. So lots of movement going on. Lots of movement.
Yeah, I'm speaking of playoffs. We received news this earlier today that Isaiah Pacheco is going to be taken off IR, which music to my ears as someone who's looking to make a splash in the playoffs. I have Pacheco. He's been sitting in my IR, and that's the team I played Justice Hill because I don't have a running back since Pacheco's been injured. So man, I can't wait for Pacheco to come back, and hopefully Kareem Hunt's not going to put a damper on my celebration with that. But we'll see what happens. Jason, we're at that point in the show. We're talking about starts and sits. So who you got for quarterback?
Right now, coming off the bye week, I'm going back to loving some love, man. Jordan Love going against that Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears defense has been playing very, very well, but look for Love to bounce back. He's had a week of rest. Coming back, I think he's going to have a phenomenal game. So I'm starting Jordan Love. If I have to sit a QB right now, I am very, very disappointed in what's going on in Minnesota. Those guys started off like gangbusters. Sam Darnold, Sam I am. We were touting you. And like, man, he got the gangrene off of him. Oh, I think he had a little bit left on his toe, and it's starting to spread to his throwing arm because he has been terrible. He only had 9 points last week. So he's going against Tennessee. Tennessee actually has a halfway decent defense. So a little disappointed in the way Sam Darnold's been playing. So I'm sitting Sam, starting Love.
All right. Well, I got the rookie quarterback Bo Nix going against Atlanta. I'm saying fire up Bo Nix. He's been playing great lately. Plenty of opportunities against that Atlanta team that has the possibility to run the score up. Now, Denver has a great defense, so it might be a closer game than what we expected to be. Kirk Cousins has seemingly taken a little fall back from his 5 touchdown performance that he had a few weeks back, but nonetheless, Bo Nix should be firing that arm up. I'm very confident starting Bo Nix going forward. Someone I'm sitting, this might be a bit of a surprise, but I am sitting Patrick Mahomes going up against the Buffalo Bills. Mahomes is not playing his best football lately. Of course, he does have D-Hop, but we have seen Mahomes struggle. They will be playing in Buffalo against a Buffalo Bills defense that has been playing pretty decently going up. So to me, it screams upset. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to face their first loss this week, going up against the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are going to give them a fit, which leads us to our running back position. Jason, I'm going to go ahead and fire away here. Start Nick Chubb against the New Orleans Saints. Chubb is coming off after a bye week. He should be well rested. He's still looking for that big homecoming game. Give me Nick Chubb going up against the Saints, and I am going to sit James Taylor going up against Jonathan Taylor. I'm sorry, going up against the New York Jets. New York Jets defense have been pretty great when it comes to running backs. Been one of the one few things that the Jets is good at starting to run, stopping the runs. So I am sitting Jonathan Taylor in this game.
Well, that's music to my ears with a little James Taylor, so I do like a little bit of that, so no worries. I am going to start, again, someone that has been very, very surprising this year and really consistent, J.K. Dobbins going against Cincy. That Cincy defense is terrible and beyond terrible. They let everybody score. So J.K. Dobbins coming off that 8-point performance, I think this is his bounce-back game going against that poor Cincinnati defense. And if I'm sitting somebody, again, Javonte Williams going against Atlanta, I think Atlanta is going to air it out. So Denver's going to have to air it out a little bit. And that, I don't know how to say his name, Audric Estime. I know I'm saying it wrong, but this rookie is looking like he's going to possibly take over Williams' job. So I'm going to sit him. He hasn't been playing very well the last couple of weeks, so he has fallen off. I know it's tough with the running back position right now, but as in running backs, they go with the hot hand. So Javonte Williams does not have a hot hand. So let's go wide receiver. Commissioner, wide receiver, hot position right now. Who are you starting? Who are you sitting?
Give me Jameson Williams against the Jags for the for Detroit Lions. Jameson had a very impressive game with some great catches this past week, coming back from being suspended for a couple games. I could really see. I mean, that was against a tough Texas defense, and now he's facing the Jags, which is absolutely awful defense. Great matchup. I'd be very confident starting up Williams. The guy I'm sitting, and Jason, I feel like I stole a little thunder from you because I saw your list already. We do a little prep sometimes, and I know you went with CeeDee Lamb. I got to go CeeDee Lamb. I'm sitting CeeDee Lamb against the Texans defense. We saw what they did against the Lions starting that game off. Of course, the Lions came back and won that game, but Texas defense is not going to win another game in a row facing that loss that they just had, especially not with the Dallas Cowboys, which the whole team's just falling apart right now. So I do not have any confidence in CeeDee Lamb. We are in agreement. Last time we talked, we were debating our position on Dak Prescott. I think we both agree right now that the Dallas Cowboys stay away from the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Lots of questions in Dallas, especially who's going to actually quarterback. Are they going to dig up Trey Lance and show why they traded with the 49ers to get him? Why they've been keeping him hush-hush on the bench? I don't know, in favor of Cooper Rush. It's kind of weird, but unfortunately, Dallas hasn't made any good moves this season so far. So my start wide receiver, again, going to shock the world a little bit right now. He had a little bit of a showing last week, but Mike Williams over there in Pittsburgh, I think he is going to be one of those guys the next couple of weeks. He's always like that. 1 minute he booms. He has some great catches. He'll give you a couple of great weeks, and then he'll throw an ankle or he'll pull a hamstring or something. So at least this week, start Mike Williams. I think he's going to be prevalent in that offense because he is a good actual on the other side of the on George Pickens on one side, Mike Williams on the other. So I think he's going to benefit from that, and especially being there an extra week to study that playbook. So Mike Williams, start him. He's going to get you some touchdowns. Watch that, book it. And then, again, we sit CeeDee Lamb. I mean, sit anybody on the Cowboys right now. They are a hot mess. They're not the worst team in the league, but optics-wise and just because of the way they talk about themselves, Cowboys, you kind of deserve what you get to sit in right now. But let's go tight end here. I'll throw my tight ends and I'll get it over to you here. If I'm going to start somebody, we talked about the Buffalo Bills earlier. Kincaid, he's been okay, has not been a number one, but I'm going to start again, shocking the world a little bit. Dawson Knox. Watch him for the Buffalo Bills. Why not? He's playing against Kansas City. Buffalo is going to want to win this game decisively. They don't want to win by a field goal. They want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Josh Allen's kryptonite, his Tom Brady, is Patrick Mahomes. And right now, he's going to want to beat the brains out of him. Cooper, we don't know how well he is going to be. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. I know he's been out the last couple of games. So he's going to rely on everybody. So Dawson Knox at tight end. Watch it. He's going to get something here. And if I had to sit somebody again, go to Cowboys, Jake Ferguson. Who's throwing him the ball? Cooper Rush. Terrible. So sit Jake Ferguson versus Houston. Houston is coming off of that disappointing loss. They need to win this. This is Houston's get right game. They have been sliding a little bit. They need to win this game and win it decisively. So I think that the Cowboys are going to have a hard time scoring anything right now because that Houston defense is still being yelled at right now for from their performance against the Lions.
Yeah, well, we got a very interesting rivalry game coming up this week, and that's the Chicago Bears versus the Packers. And so, give me Cole Kmet to start at tight end against the Packers. It's always a solid game between the two of them. Of course, there's that joke that the Packers always own the Bears, so we'll see what happens there. But I like Cole Kmet this week. I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities. Caleb Williams, everybody's talking about him right now, whether he's a busting again and what's going on in Chicago. It's kind of on and off with this guy, but I think he's going to have a bounce back game playing the Packers. Give me Cole Kmet. I'm sitting Mark Andrews with the Baltimore Ravens against Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's got a really tough defense. I think they're going to shut down Andrews. They are familiar with his gameplay. They are familiar with what the Ravens like to do with Mark Andrews. So look for the Pittsburgh Steelers to shut down Mark Andrews in this game. And to be honest with you, I wish I can come on here and talk crap about Pittsburgh, but I am not a fan of going up against Russell Wilson right now with the way our defense has been playing. So plenty of opportunities for Andrews, but I think they're going to shut him down. Do not play Mark Andrews. That leads us to our sleeper, Jason. Who we got?
It's been tough for me because there's not I haven't been getting a lot of sleep here lately because it's, fantasy football has been very volatile. It's tough. My sleeper is going to be, guys, go out there and get somebody that you didn't think was going to get you some points. Is probably going to get you some points. Again, I'm seeing maybe a Romeo Doubs. I think, again, he's going to step up this weekend against the Bears with Love back, a little bit of a rapport. So I'd like to see him. So if I had to pick somebody, I'm going to go Romeo Doubs. But this is the time right now, guys, especially if you're in the playoff hunt, go out there and find you some points, man. You need them right now.
There's a guy out there that we've had a good bit of a laugh about over the past few years, and a Ravens legend, one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play the game, Steve Smith, called this guy a jag, just a guy. So Jerry Jeudy coming in to play the New Orleans Saints. I've had a lot of fun picking on Jerry Jeudy for just being a jag, just another guy. But he's coming off of a bye week. The New Orleans Saints defense is falling apart. Practically no secondary there. Jerry Jeudy seems to have new life with Jameson Winston. So I'm fire up Jerry Jeudy in my slot spot this week.
Bold move, Cotton. Bold move.
Hey, it's been another fun episode. Football is here to stay for a few more weeks. We love it. Jason, it's always a pleasure getting with you and talking fantasy football. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you all. We're out.
I appreciate it, guys. Sideline Savants, 12 p.m. on Wednesdays, man. Check us out. Let's go, Commish. We'll see. Playoffs coming up soon.
Hey, 3 from Deep every Monday, 12 p.m. Let's go. NBA, baby. All right.
Let's go.